Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is unit number 5, week number 5 out of 8. We are powering through. We are on the verge of getting done. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening this week, and we will get going on unit number 5. Make sure, remember that you can still go back and review the previous weekly walkthroughs, as well as other videos that have been posted in the announcements. These are always available to you. If you're struggling with any of the concepts or any of the technical aspects, there is usually something that we have gone over in one of these videos that will help you. So, check in with me, let me direct you to the right spot, but don't forget also that you do have the ability to go back and watch previous announcement videos as well. This week, of course, we are in unit 5 and we are digging more into the argument information, because you're going to be writing your argument essay coming up in the very close future. This week, you're going to be writing an introduction for that essay, and that's your official writing assignment. Remember, we talked a little bit about last week, the pro and con paragraphs that you wrote for unit 4 with research in them can actually also become part of your argument essay. And this week, you're going to write the first paragraph of that essay. So if you are working strategically and all of these things will work together, you're going to have a lot less work to do when it comes to putting together the full argument essay coming up. So keep that in mind. The essay itself is due in week 7. This week, you do have access to the actual assignment sheet, and several people had asked about that. So I'll show you where to find all that information. But essentially, that's where we are. We're working on argument. We're learning about what it means to write an effective argument, the different elements, how we need both facts and opinions in argumentative writing. And then, of course, we've got a discussion board and a formal writing assignment. So first, let's take a look at the readings and resources. You've got a few sections here as usual. First is about persuasive writing in general, which is another word for argument. It is going to teach you about how to be logical and fair using credible and reliable sources. These are all things that we've already been kind of working towards because we've been gathering credible and reliable sources. And specifically last week, you should have been focused on finding 2 of those for the writing assignment in unit 4. So there's a couple things to read there. Fact, opinion, and bias. Again, another reading assignment, and then an activity as well that will help with that. Then the last thing that's here is there's nothing you even need to click on. It's just a sample introductory paragraph. This does tend to throw people off just a tiny little bit. So I want to make sure to be clear about what this is showing you. Cyberbullying is not one of the 3 potential topics for our argument essay. So very much like when I show you something, I try to use something that is not already one of the things that we're working on, because of course, then it's kind of like doing some people's homework for them. This is a sample paragraph that you could use to open an argumentative paper on cyberbullying, but this is not one of the topics that you can choose from. This is merely meant to show you some of the things that you can do in an introductory paragraph, such as asking a question. You'll notice the second sentence is a question, and so that's a common tactic that we use in writing introductions. I would also encourage you to check out some resources on writing effective introductions and conclusions. Specifically, the OWL at Purdue has a really good webpage on that, and I will post that link in the announcement, but just kind of, you can also just Google how to write effective introductions or conclusions, and you'll get a lot of good links that way as well. But I will definitely post the one for the OWL because they do a really good job with that. So those are your readings and resources. And remember to engage with all the readings and resources before attempting the assignments for the week. In the discussion board this week, you're going to be focusing on fact and opinion. Now, a lot of times we jump to the conclusion that what we really need is more facts, but in reality, most of what we read, most of what we hear, most of what we think are opinions. So we do want to have facts to back up our opinions, but we also want to be able to use opinion in a responsible and credible way. So in the initial post, you're going to answer the questions that are here. What would you consider to be the biggest difference between a fact and an opinion? How would you use a fact in your writing? And how would you use opinion in your writing? Because again, you do use both. And then the other part of that question is, why do you think that people get confused about the difference between a fact and opinion? Because you hear those words actually misused a lot. Finally, on your own post, you're going to put 2 sentences down at the bottom. Just number them 1 and 2. You don't have to call them anything fancy. One of those statements should be a fact and one should be an opinion, but you shouldn't tell us which one is which, because when you respond to your classmates on these, you're going to discern which of their statements is a fact and which is an opinion, and how do you know that? As usual, of course, you're going to post your own post by Wednesday night for full points, and then at least 2 follow-up replies are due the coming Sunday, so a week from now. The discussion board rubric is also here if you want to check that out. That's going to help you understand how your grade is determined. And of course, once you get a grade back on it, you want to make sure that you look at the rubric so that you see how you scored in each of the categories. So then you have your formal writing assignment. So we're back to writing just 1 paragraph this week, easy peasy. It is not a giant paper yet. We are going to be turning that in week 7. But you do have access to the full argument essay assignment sheet. This first link is that. So these should look familiar. You've seen these for other assignments. This is the one for the full argument essay. And you'll notice it even says when you open it, it's not due until Sunday night of Unit 7. We're in Unit 5 right now. And then it's got a full discussion of it. Now, we've been already using these topics. You chose one last week for Unit 4. Should free speech be regulated on social media? Should health insurance be mandatory for all American citizens? And should Americans be required to complete some form of national service? You can argue either position for any of those 3, but that's where you're limited. You can only choose one of those 3 topics for your argument essay. Each of those above questions are going to have 2 sides, which we've already sort of explored. And then this will go into depth about what to do in the actual essay. So unlike any assignment previously, you will have multiple paragraphs. You will have an introductory paragraph, which you're going to write this week. You're going to have a conclusion paragraph, which I wouldn't write until I've written the paper, because of course it's going to wrap everything up. But then in between, you're going to have body paragraphs, multiple body paragraphs, focusing on one topic in support of your argument in each paragraph. So if you have 3 reasons why you are taking that position, you'll have 3 body paragraphs. If you have 4 reasons, you'll have 4, et cetera, et cetera. You do need to have at least 3 reliable and academic sources cited in this assignment. So you will have a references page. You will also have in-text citations where you are quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing that support of your position. The evidence, of course, should have those in-text citations. And if you need some extra help with that, please reach out. But again, there's some helpful videos that are already in the announcements for you as well with that. You will typically also want to include 1 piece of evidence in the body of each paragraph, kind of like you've already done for the pro-con assignment and in that supported paragraph where you were using a direct quote. You are not required to include a source about the counter argument or the other side, but you can. And since you've already written a paragraph about the other side, I would include it. why let that paragraph go to waste? So if you have 3 reasons for your position and you have a body paragraph that covers the other side, then your body of your essay will be at least 4 paragraphs long, plus your intro and conclusion. Down further, of course, you have all the reminders about third person objective writing and all that good stuff. Your instructions, remember, this is a formal writing assignment, so it needs to be submitted in a Word document or as a PDF. It should not just be typed into a box. You have to have a cover page. It is APA formatted. You need to have cited sources within the text. And then at the end, you will have your references list, which will have at least 3 academic sources on it. You can use more than that if you want to. And then, of course, as usual, you've got the full rubric. Now, this assignment sheet is for the argument essay that's due at the end of week 7, but you are working on it now. In fact, you've already started working on it. So that's why they have linked it here and giving you access to it. For this week's assignment only, you're going to use this assignment sheet because what you are doing is just writing your introductory paragraph. So same topics, you're choosing one, you've already really chosen one. If you did want to change, now would be the time to do it, but I would just stick with what you've already been working on, especially if you've got good research that you've already located and all that fun thing, all those fun things. So your introduction will begin with your position, and your thesis is that main argument. So if my thesis, if I was in favor of regulating speech on social media, my thesis might be something like, there are many reasons why social media companies should be able to regulate the speech on their websites. And then that leaves it open to however many reasons I have for that. Okay, so that's kind of how you would put that thesis together. That should be the last sentence. The thesis should be the last sentence of your introduction. And so you'll need at least 6 other sentences in front of it. And like I said, I will supply you with a website that will give you some ideas of what to do, like using a quotation or using a question. There's all kinds of fun things you can do to open up the essay. And then, of course, you have the rubric, which is, this one is just based on the 1 paragraph. That's all you're writing this week. All right. And you certainly can cite a source if you use a quotation, but you can conceivably write the introduction without using any research. So that's up to you. But if you do include research, if you include a quote or something like that, make sure that you do go ahead and cite it. It won't go to waste because you're going to have to cite it for the paper itself anyway. All right. So when you're ready to turn that one in, as usual, you're going to click on the link here and you're going to use this one, browse local files, get your source from where you've saved it on your computer. Do not use write submission, use browse local files and upload your document. All right, so that's what's going on in week 5. If you need any help with anything, please reach out. I am available pretty much all week. So if you need something, let me know. We can always hop on a Zoom if we need to look at something together. But otherwise, I will be back with you on video form at the beginning of week 6. So I hope everyone is having a good Memorial Day and a good week 5. Looking forward to reading some introductions this week. Everybody take care.